Good morning. We are live. This is Old Texas Paul. Hope your coffee is as good as mine. Hell, I hope it's better. I really do. I hope you're having a good cup of coffee this morning. Let's get into it. Things are getting crazy. Let's break it all down. We got to talk about what's going on with the economy, and that is not good. But before we do, we're going to talk about some Republicans. We're going to talk about Fauci a little bit. We're going to talk about Jim Jordan. We're going to talk about Bernie Moreno. We're going to talk about, we've got a lot to talk about. Let's get to work. See, that's what I'm talking about right there. That's my kind of self-care. That's what I'm talking about. Cheers to you. Cheers to you. That sounds wonderful. Guatemalan cardamom coffee. That's what I'm talking about, people. You got to take care of yourself. There's a lot going on in this world. We're headed for some tough times, and you've got to be fortified. You got to take care of yourself. You do. You do. I'm glad to see it. Glad to see it. We're going to start with Bernie Moreno. We talked last show about Anthony Fauci, what his decision to plead the fifth and why. The insanity that's going on with the Republican Party. They thought bringing up Fauci would save them from the disaster that has just hit. The economy is just, and I have to tell you, uh, pretty much the media has gone along with it. It has. They want to talk about anything but what's going on in the economy. If this was a Democratic administration, this stuff would be page one. The media would be screaming that this is the end of the world and oh my God, what are we going to do? And why did a Democrat do this? And then, but since it's Trump and the media has made their choice, they've picked their side. We've got to talk about stupid shit. And talking about stupid shit, this is Bernie Moreno trying to sound like a tough guy.
Sell them all, run for office, run for the United States Senate. Here I am sitting in front of you 6 years later saying, who the fuck do you think you were for doing that? It is a total disgrace what you did to this country. And if my Democrat colleagues are standing there defending you, I hope the voters of the United States of America watch the clips of every one of you doting on a guy who was more interested in being a celebrity than saving American people. Sell them all, run for office, run for the United States Senate. Here I am sitting in front.
All right. That's Bernie Moreno trying to sound like a tough guy. He is not. And I will tell you why he is not. My wife hates when I say stuff like this. I have a temper problem. I do. There are certain things that set me off, and I'm one of those people that lose time. If you don't know what that means, God bless you. I'm glad. I'm one of those people that enter a rage to the point that I will lose time. I will have no memory between here and there. And there are certain things that set me off. I saw some old folks being abused out on the loop in Longview, Texas. And I did not think, I didn't, Next thing you knew, I was standing over a guy. I just lose time. I do. There are certain things that do that to me. Yes, he's a car salesman. He's a car salesman. He is. That's where he got his money from. He's a car salesman. Um, Folks, I'm just going to tell you, there's some things that will set it off in me, and I brought receipts that Bernie Moreno is nothing. He is nothing. This is why I know he's nothing. This is Emily Moreno. This is his daughter. This is his daughter, Emily Moreno. I want you to take a good look at her. She doesn't look real good, does she? She doesn't. She doesn't look very good, does she? This is what she looked like when she got married. Take a good look at her here. How she looks in better days. And then compare that to how she looks now. Lost a lot of weight. You can just tell. If you pay attention to people, you can just tell when something's not good, when they are under extreme stress. You can just tell. You can. Things are not good for Emily Moreno. She's filed for a restraining order against her husband, soon to be ex-husband, Max Miller. Max Miller is a Republican running for office, re-election. He's a congressman. Yeah, in Ohio. Bernie Moreno's from Ohio also. They're from Ohio. This is what Emily Moreno has said has gone on, just some of the things that have come out in court documents. She has alleged that Max Miller threw hot water on her, scalding her chest and belly, that he flew into a rage and pointed a gun at her head while she was changing their child, Bernie Moreno's grandchild's diaper. She's alleged that he slammed her up against the wall in front of the children when they were supposed to be passing the children off because they are having an extreme custody fight. She does not want him to have access to the children. Because she is also alleged that, and there are medical records, and this is all going to come out in court. And yes, he's running for re-election right now in Ohio. That he broke his child's collarbone and that there was the bruise in the shape of a handprint on their child. There are medical records to attest to this. CPS has gotten involved. And Bernie Moreno's done fuck all. Now, I love my son-in-law. I do. He's a wonderful guy. He is. He's a good guy. Mountain of a man too. Good Lord. I would hate that. He's one of those guys you shake their hand and it feels like you're holding a Virginia ham in your hand because he makes me look tiny and I'm not a small guy. I'm not. But if he did that to my grandbabies and my daughter, well, I'm just going to say everybody's afraid of what I would do in that situation. Everybody knows what I would do in that situation. Hell or high water, prison be damned. And Bernie Moreno's done nothing. So yeah, when you sit there and you talk like a tough guy, I know you're not. I know you're a coward. You don't even protect your own children. Your daughters are your babies forever. They are. To the day you die. And he has done nothing. In fact, you've got Republicans like Jim Jordan that are actively campaigning for him. Well, here, let me let Jim Jordan tell you about it.
I also want to ask you about something a little closer to home. There is a colleague of yours in the Ohio delegation, Max Miller, who is facing allegations of abuse from an ex-wife of the wife and his then toddler daughter. Do you think that Max Miller, who denies this abuse, should he resign from Congress in light of the accusations?
Look, this is a family matter. I know Max is a good man. I was up campaigning for him. I hope he wins re-election. He's done a good job as a member of Congress, and we should all pray for his family. These are difficult times that they're going through. We understand that. These kind of situations always are. But Max is a good member and a colleague, and hopefully he's going to win re-election. But ultimately, in the end, that's up to the voters in his district. But yeah, we were up helping Max just a few weeks ago at a campaign event up in his district in the northern part of our state.
So, I mean, it's just worth noting, I mean, the allegations include that Miller scalded his ex-wife's chest and stomach when he threw hot water at her, that he held a gun to her head, that he pushed her against a wall and hit her in the head, that he fractured their daughter's collarbone and bruised her shoulder, that his 2-year-old daughter reportedly told his ex-wife, quote, "Daddy, kill you." I want to play for you what you said when you were asked about Graham Plattner, who faced allegations of abuse. Let's watch what you told.
I've not heard all this stuff.
Well, it was in the New York Times. It was in the New York Times. That's the list of allegations. It's been out there for a while. I just want to show you what you told Newsmax.
That was a bald-faced lie. You notice that's what they do. That's what they do. They just constantly, you know, "Oh, I haven't heard about this. So I can't comment on it. I haven't heard about this." Yeah, they have. Yeah, they have. That was a bald-faced lie. They do that. That's their standard response now.
When you saw that Graham Plattner was facing these accusations, watch.
That's always been the case with Democrats. It's all about maintaining power. They will take any crazy position as long as it furthers their ability to win elections and get power, and frankly, to go against anyone who goes against President Trump.
Why does that not apply here to Republicans who want to keep power in the seat?
And cut. I'm not going to allow him to do what he does, but I am going to applaud. I'm going to applaud. What he just said and did was awful. It was awful. Do not take what I say here as anything other than it was awful. But politically, it was perfection. The Republicans are so good at this, and we need to get better. We do. He immediately, his response to being called out for his blatant hypocrisy was to completely ignore it. And he went on the attack. He attacked Democrats. He attacked Graham Plattner. He threw several negative comments out. He fed his base with the line that they're better people than we are because, look, us Democrats. He attacked Graham Plattner several times. Yeah, I can't comment on the negative shit that you're trying to get me to talk about. that is really happening, that's really going on right now, and is completely relevant to this election right now, no, I'm going to go ahead and go on the attack I'm going to attack the Democrats. Yeah. 1 second. Yeah. I got to hand it to him, and we've got to get better at it. We do. We've got to get better at it. We have got to get better at it. We do. I mean, we've got to learn how to stay punching all the time. People don't vote to say thank you. People vote to say fuck you. And his response to that attack, you got to give Jordan that. His response to that was to give his voters reasons to say fuck you to Democrats. There's no thought, there's no plan, it's completely intuitive. They are 100% trained and prepared. They will always do that, and we have to get better at it. And when I say we, I mean us, because I'm telling you, in the comment sections of every one of my videos, there are a dozen Republican trolls that will show up, that they monitor my videos and wait for them to come out. They, unlike so many people on our side, don't have notifications set for my content. These trolls do, and they will immediately show up, and everything is always but Democrats, but this, but that, and they stay on the attack constantly. You've got to give them props. They are at least, they're horrible human beings. They're horrible leaders. They're horrible people. They are just in every way horrible. But they're good at this. They are good at this. So we've had something interesting happen on the Mitch McConnell front. And it kind of a segue from the way we handle things. Folks, there are people out there that are on our side attacking Andy Beshear. This whole clickbait narrative about attack a Democrat because you think he's not doing enough, or they're attacking Andy Beshear because they're thinking he's not doing enough about Mitch McConnell. Folks, Andy Beshear could not remove Mitch McConnell if he wanted to. As long as that man is breathing, the only people that can remove Mitch is the Senate. And they're not going to. They're not going to. Andy Beshear is keeping the pressure on. He's keeping the story alive. He's reminding everybody that what Republicans are doing, that they're hiding the fact that Mitch McConnell is incapable of serving. He's doing everything that he can do, and he's getting attacked by us because people don't know that basic fact. Andy Beshear cannot remove Mitch McConnell. He can't. But he is keeping the story alive. And the story is alive. This is the Daily Beast just yesterday. This is a good story from the Daily Beast. They have called out Elaine Chao and her pictures. Yeah, that picture ain't from when you said it was. They're saying this is a proof of life picture. They have her in this outfit that she's supposed to be in this picture weeks before when they said they took it. The math don't math on it. And the internet is forever. They've got you. They got you, girl. They got you. And the fact that her hair, she had an event, she changed her hairstyle just prior to when this picture was supposed to take place. And wrong hair, girl. Yeah. So yes, they're lying. They're lying. We know they are lying. We know something is not right there. We know if they're lying, if they're not, if he was really recovering, they would show us. They would. They would. If they could, they would. They can't. We know it's a disaster. But for Christ's sake, Andy Bashir's not the bad guy, people. He's not. And people, we got people on the internet that are supposed to be on our side for their own clicks, for their own monetization, for their own money. They're doing that clickbait shit of, let's blame the Democrats because they're not fighters. They're not like we are. They're not. What the fuck, man? What is wrong with you, man? Have you never heard of brand value? Have you never heard of bandwagon effect? Have you never heard of filling the space? Yeah, Republicans are lying to you. Mitch McConnell is not going to return to office. He is not. He's done. He's done. That's it. Stick a fork in that dude. Can we force can Andy Bashir force him out of office? No, the Republicans are going to do this to you. They're going to pretend. They're going to lie. They're going to obfuscate. They're going to do everything vile and nasty and wrong just to try to hold power to prevent that special election. We know it. We see it. They're the ones at fault. Remember, just stay on message, folks. Stay on message. Well, Trump's having a bit of a bad day. He woke up this morning having an absolute fit. An absolute fit. He is just completely melting down because of Todd Blanche. And, a really, 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 really smart person, special agent that I'm very close to, that I know, once told me, shut up and let them talk. Shut up and let them talk. That's when your information comes. If you ever want to assess what somebody's thinking about or doing, an uncomfortable silence works great, because they will they will point you to what they're lying about, what their motivations are, what they're doing. He is falling apart because of the slush fund, the $1.8 billion slush fund is what's on the front of his mind. See, Todd Blanche is being held up for multiple reasons. His handling of the Epstein affair, and the fact that, let's be honest, a lot of it is just political. It's just payback. Trump came out against John Cornyn in his reelection bid. He backed Ken Paxton. And John Cornyn's pissed. He's pissed. He's breaking it off in Trump. That happens, folks. That happens. When you don't back your people, it happens. So Trump came out this one. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but you can where Trump's mind is. There are multiple objections to Todd Blanche. There are multiple reasons he does not have the votes for confirmation. He just doesn't. They're just desperately incensed because they're probably going to have to pull his nomination, and looking weak is the death of MAGA, because it's really the only thing they have is this pretending that they're strong. Anyways, John Cornyn never had a problem with the so-called fund, which will not benefit me. Absolutely. He's going to have control of $1.8 billion. Damn well a big chunk of that's going in his pocket. But rather the great American patriots who were hunted down like dogs. I don't know what the fuck his problem is with dogs. I know his parents never bought him one. He never had a dog. Dogs are great. Dogs are great. But Trump just obviously doesn't think much of dogs. You've heard him say this before, every time he wants to insult somebody, or talk about somebody as though they're lowly or bad. They're dogs. They're dogs. You know what? Dogs are fucking wonderful. Dogs will love you wholeheartedly. And I don't think that man has ever known love in his life. I mean, shit, he's married to a hooker. His prior wives were imports. I mean, it's just, yeah. No. He tells you who he is. He tells you what he's thinking. You don't have to get more than the first sentence in, and you know exactly what is going on with Trump. He is having an absolute fit because he's not going to get his $1.8 billion slush fund that he's going to use for a war chest, that he's going to use to profit himself. And yeah, that's what's going on. Cornyn is breaking it off in Trump. Trump stabbed him in the back during his reelection bid. He's no longer going to be a senator. He wanted to be there. He wanted to be there for another couple terms. He wanted to be one of them 90-year-old senators that we've got that are still making bank off the job, and he's not going to be there, and he's pissed. He's pissed. Question is, are the Republican oligarchs willing to bribe him enough to change his vote? Because that's what it is, folks. I mean, we've just entered the point where our government no longer pretends it's not being bribed. It's open, out in the open. They want a Republican or they want a congressman or a senator to change their vote. The oligarchs just show up with cash in hand. I mean, it's so freaking obvious. But yeah, the Republicans understand that Trump having to withdraw Todd Blanche will be a massive loss. It will show incredible weakness. And most of them would rather you suffer than they look weak, because that's the only thing holding their base together. Is their base is still holding on to some delusion that Republicans are going to be able to hurt the people that they want them to hurt. But yeah, even though Trump has been completely kicked in the cooter over this, he hasn't abandoned it. He has not given it up. He has not given it up. Judge Leone Brinkema, District Judge Leone Brinkema, put an indefinite hold on that slush fund. And yeah, it's not happening. It's not happening. But he wants to appeal it. He wants to take this to the Supreme Court. He wants, yeah. That's what he's thinking. Great comment. Where did it go? I just saw it out of the corner of my eye. I read your comments during the show. Yes, I talk and read and think about 3 different things at one time. And every once in a while, you'll catch me when I. Somebody just asked, did I see the press conference with Fetterman and Netanyahu? I did. It was fucking gross. But you know what? I'm going to say this again. I was just talking to the guy this morning about this, who feels very betrayed. We all feel betrayed about Fetterman, but he'll be primaried. He will, and he still votes with us. He voted against Jay Clayton. He still votes with us 98% of the time, and he was fucking better than this guy. That's what you got to keep in mind. You're going to be able to primary Fetterman. He's going to do stupid shit. He is a disappointment. It feels like a betrayal because it is. But he's still fucking better than this guy. This guy, we showed where they just came after Medicare Part D. Medicare Part B. They're killing the drug subsidies for our seniors. Killing. And now this fucking guy. If you think Fetterman was bad, at least Fetterman votes with us. This piece of shit right here would have been 1,000 times worse than having an annoying Fetterman. You just got to remember that, folks. You got to remember that. You'll get your chance to primary, Fetterman. You will. Thank you for the segue, by the way. Thank you for the comment. Thank you for the segue. But yeah, we talked about this in a previous show. The judge, he was a Clinton appointee in this, and he said, look, I can't block this right now. I can't. You haven't shown me damages. You haven't given me what I need. The states are suing the federal government to try to block these it's ridiculous. It's sick. We've talked about this in a previous show. They've passed these requirements that the sickest, and I mean, think about it, folks. Think about what's going on in your life. If you're on Medicaid in the first place, things have not gone well. Things have not gone the way you planned. If you're on Medicaid, that's a catch-all. Then you are so sick that you cannot work. Yeah, things are really not going well. The Republicans believe that you're living high on the hog on their dime, and old Mehmet Oz is out there pushing their delusion. I told you, these rich oligarchs live in a fucking fantasy land. They believe these delusions. No, but they did take the subsidies away so that the drugs are much more expensive. They can't take Part D away. They don't have the votes. We Democrats still have enough votes to block that. But they sure can make the drugs way more expensive. And that's what they just did. That's what they just did. These elections have consequences, folks. They do. I get mad at these people that are they're on our side. They are on our side. Some of them are just grifters. I don't ever agree with the Young Turks. I don't think that their motives are good or pure or anything like that. But there are some people on our side that are legitimately on our side that don't know how to build momentum and don't know how to support their team and don't know how, when and where to criticize. It's all they can do. They've got fuck Democrats Tourette's. They're just dumb. They're dumb, but they're on our side. But yeah, Judge Richard Stearns was pretty clear about it. He's a Clinton appointee. He said, look, you've got to give me something that will allow me to act here. I agree with you. This is going to be awful. You're asking these people that are in this situation, now they've got to prove more paperwork is what it is. More paperwork. It's elimination via paperwork. You're going to add more burden to their doctors because their doctors have to be the ones to write the letters to allow you to prove. But what they're hoping is that a percentage of these people don't get the paperwork done. That's what they're hoping for. They're just god awful human beings that don't give a shit about the most vulnerable among. I just really need you to think about that. Who is on Medicaid? Who is on Medicaid and unable to work to where they're getting like full benefits? What is going on in their life? Think about that for a minute. There are good people out there that just, life will fuck you up sometimes, man. Shit will just go wrong. It will. No fault of your own. You will do everything right. And shit will just, folks, we just had an accident here. A head-on collision. Two people that were doing nothing wrong. They were just hit by someone else and driven into oncoming traffic. They both died. Their children are parentless. Wake up, Paul. Their children are parentless. And nobody did it. Life will steamroll you sometimes. And there are good people on Medicaid. But life is not going well for them if they are there. It's already hard. And Mehmet Oz thinks that it should be harder. Nobody's living large on Medicaid. Nobody. But they just made it harder. Fill out more paperwork, jump through more hoops. You got to beg your doctor. There are doctors here. I live in a very right-wing area. I do. There are doctors here that have they believe this delusion that people like abuse welfare and this. They will not write you a letter for Medicaid. They won't. They'll take the Medicaid. They'll treat you. But they have a moral objection to assist you with Medicaid. They've got a moral objection to assisting. There are doctors around here that will not write those letters. And they know it. These Republicans know it. So, yeah. No, I'm not defending Fetterman. I'm not. It feels like a betrayal because it is. It is. But he's, do I regret getting him elected? No. Because the other option was this fucking guy, Mehmet Oz. Do I think we can do better? Yeah. I think that he's going to face a primary opponent in he's going to be a one-term senator. I believe that. But yeah, while that's going on, and again, segue from the Todd Blanche thing, they don't want to seem weak because their base will feel like, you're not able to hurt the people I want you to hurt if you're weak, and they'll lose their support, and they know it because this is their base. This is what their base wants. This is going to infuriate you. It is. I watched this and I was like, end it. In that entire agency, talking about ICE, end that entire agency today. You cannot reform this. When this is your culture, when this is who you are, that agency is unsavable. It is unreformable. It's got to be completely destroyed, burned to ashes. The embers must be pissed on, and something new to handle immigration must be built in this place. I want you to watch this again. Let me explain. ICE is arresting people, and people have shown up impromptu, are screaming obscenities at them, telling them, they're rightfully so, calling them every name in the book. And it gets under this ICE agent's skin. It does. Watch what he does. This lady is standing there filming him. Watch what he does. That's a crime. That's a crime in broad daylight and on video. It is. You know, it's just a blatant. It's a blatant crime. That's battery. That's not just assault. It's battery. Broad daylight. You can tell. You can see when it gets under his skin because he starts walking over there. You can't reform that. You can't reform that culture. When your agents feel like they can do something like that, I'm not talking about the shit that goes on behind the scenes when they got somebody in the back of a car, in the lockup. I'm not talking about any of that. This guy in broad fucking daylight with cameras on, knows cameras are on, in the middle of a busy intersection, does that. Just walks up and pepper sprays somebody that protesting. You can't fix that culture. That's unfixable. It's got to go. The entire agency, top to bottom, has to be just absolutely, like I said, just burn it to the ground, piss on the ashes, and build something new. That's who these people are, though. That's who these people are. And while they're busy kicking people off of Medicaid, while they're just focused on trying to get their $1.8 billion slush fund. And wait for it, folks. We got a lot to talk about with the economy. We've got a lot coming with the economy. We do. It's not good. This is what they're focused on. This is what Trump is focused on. God bless MS Now. They're doing a great job. This is from MS Now. I just want to call that out right now. God bless MS Now. $5.1 million to gild statues with gold leaf. And they were beautiful to begin with. This is what they look like. This is what they look at. This beautiful patina on these statues. It's not like they were an eyesore. It's just Trump likes gold. So he's having the statues gilded with gold. That's what he's focused on. He's going to build that fucking arch. If he builds that arch, I will run for president just on the platform of I will tear that fucking arch down brick by brick. I will take anything with Trump's name on it and rip it to the ground. Yeah, that's what they're focused on. That's what they're focused on. And I got to tell you, folks, I know I'm going to upset a lot of you because a lot of you are good Christian people. They are. But fix your fucking churches. Fix your fucking churches. They're broken. They are broken. This is the latest numbers out of Fox Poll. They're freaking out because James Challarico is leading Ken Paxton. Yeah, he is. He's leading Ken Paxton. You know he's not leading Ken Paxton with? White evangelicals. Look at that. Look at that number. 21 to 78. White evangelicals. Regular worship attendees, 4257. Fix your fucking churches, people. Between Ken Paxton and Donald Trump, what is wrong with these people? What is wrong with these people? Just sick. Sick. I mean, the corruption is right there. I mean, just blatantly moving your whore from one city so that she can be in the same city you're in. She's married too. Suddenly is super wealthy, breaking the law when he's voting where he doesn't live. Fix your fucking churches, people. I mean it. We gave you James Tallarico. That should be the perfect Christian for you. And here they are. Fix your fucking churches. They're broken. They are broken. Lynn Lim, good morning, everyone. Good to see you. 5-month member. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. ET, can you say stagflation? I knew you could. Yep, it's coming. It's coming. Die and Breed Garage. Stagflation is here. We're going to talk about it, and that's what we're going to talk about next. Die and Breed Garage. Hey, Paul, here with you as always. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Ollie, mug idea. America looks better in blue. Yep. And it does, man. It does. ET, now that bully plumber is gone, has to be top. Yeah. Chandra Patton, always so generous, Chandra. Thank you for being here. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for always being here, Chandra. Very generous of you to make sure people have memberships. Debbie Subar, I'm not a violent person, but as a gardener, I understand how to compost things. Yes, stay away from my kids. Stay away from my kids. You'll regret it. Stay away from my kids. Summer cowboy hats remind me of Pringles potato chips. Yeah. Yep. I get you. Barb Smithers, the Texas, damn, Pringles sound good too. I'm hungry. The Texas polls have Democrats gaining big time. Thank you, Paul, for what you do to help that. Yeah. Old white dudes, evangelicals are the only thing holding the Republican Party together. What is wrong with this picture? What is wrong with this picture? You have an incredibly corrupt, immoral candidate. You have a good, pious Christian candidate, and they're over here with the shit. They're over here supporting Trump, who diddles kids, who's been adjudicated a rapist, who's been, fix your fucking churches. ET, messaging people affordability instead of culture wars, citizens united instead of APAC. Are you ready to get involved? When we do the work, it gets done. Yes, sir, brother. Jeremy Breeden, I do not agree with the tactics on Bashir either. I think he is a strong 2028 candidate. He has won 3 statewide races in Kentucky as a Democrat and has delivered for his people. Yep. Skeet Sayre, Fetterman is a disgrace, but nothing compared to the administration. They have concentration camps, people. Time for a general strike. Amen. Well said. E.T., the BBC is not backing down, even Barron as well. Yeah, they screwed up when they sued the BBC. They did. Skeet Sayre, the world that Reagan created. Now we're at the brink of World War III thanks to what he gave China. I'm telling you, things are very unstable right now. New West bill. My meds currently cost me $50 per month. They can rise to $350 monthly without the supplement. Yep. Yeah, it's happening, folks. It's happening. They're hurting people. They are hurting people. And they're doing it over a fucking fantasy that these oligarchs have. They just are. Skeet Sayre, private equity is their weapon. They just tried to apply it to WC and it backfired spectacularly. Plus, the Trump resort is on its last legs in Albania. Yep. Holly Hale, I took being called a nuisance by my congressman's aide as a badge of honor. That's right. Getting some good trouble. God, we need John Lewis right now. We could really use John Lewis right now. So was Renee Good, but nothing happened. Yep. But you know what? Statute of limitations, people. That's why I say that was battery. Much longer statute of limitation. Asbjorn Knudsen, will ICE ever be held accountable by the law? If we elect Democrats, they will. If we elect Democrats, they will. Hello, Scots. Thank you for being so generous. Thank you for gifting the memberships. Thank you very much. Skeets here. Don't lump us with them. The real church is not in U.S., but post-slave churches in the Caribbean. That is where I come from. You know, I love a good Christian. I really do. I love a good Christian. I'm just trying to motivate you is what I'm trying to do. You know there's work to be done. You know there's work to be done. They've gotten a long ways away from the messages of Jesus. ET, it is less than 15 weeks until the general election. Verify your voter registration and deadline dates. Know your early voting dates. Get involved. Yep. Jerry Ring, Christians need to be more like Jesus. Amen. Skeet Sear, I love Warnock. He is one of us. Support humanity with kindness. Yep. Jerry Ring, Stephen Miller had Trump enact NSP 7 earlier this month, going after and arresting left-wing political terrorists. What the hell does that mean? Yeah, they're part of that is a scare tactic to look like tough guys. Hey, we're hurting the people you want us to hurt. Part of it is real. I mean, they really are. I'm telling you, folks, you think it's bad now? You see what happens if they win the midterms. Joan Cortez, I'm filling out my ballot here in Florida as I'm listening to the show. Go David Jolly, go Alex Vindman, and every Democrat. Yeah, amen. Omniscient Sphinx, time to march into the voting booth. Blue. Yep. Hal Sparks, Texas Paul, 2028. Yeah, I was glad to see he's really flirting with running, moving back to Kentucky and running. Playing my Martin SC13E every day. You the man. All right, Montana Will. All right. Way to go. Robert Libby gifted wow. Super generous. Gifted 50 memberships. Folks, that's the kind of people we have here. That they just want you to, all you have to do is make sure that you've got it selected in your settings that you can receive gifts, and they'll give you a membership. They will give you a membership. I'm telling you. Glenn Kaneko gifted 10 memberships. Thank you. Wow. Robert Libby gifted another 50 memberships. That is incredible, Robert. Thank you. Thank you for being so generous, Robert. Thank you for keeping everybody involved, bringing the community together. Wow, that is huge, man. I appreciate you. I am truly grateful. Well, folks, you may have heard that the Fed left rates unchanged. Republicans were having a fit about that. They were just having a fit about that. They don't know whether to, scratch their watch or wind their ass right now. They don't. They know they are in trouble. And this is awful. These Republicans don't give a shit about you. And here I bring receipts. Stick with me. I bring receipts. Y'all know what the target inflation rate is, right? 2.2 to 2.4. That is the target inflation rate. That is healthy. That is what every economist will tell you. That's what we want. That is sustainable. That is not where we're at. We're at 3.3% inflation. We are much higher. And you're like, well, that doesn't sound like a lot. Do the math on that. That's a full point. That is 30% higher than what is acceptable. 2.2 to 2.4 to 3.3. That's a full point more. That is a 30% increase over what is actually acceptable. And I don't mean to get the numbers jumbled up and like saying, 30% inflation. That's not what I'm saying. 1% inflation, 2% inflation, 3% inflation. It's a full point more. That's 33%, folks. More than what they expect. So, yeah, I just want you to understand what a big freaking deal that is to have inflation at 3.3%. Now, Now, understand that we are doing that while the economy has ground to a halt. You know, I've been sounding alarm bells here on the show. I've been telling you, I mean, from the tariffs to everything that's been going on, from the war, just all of the trade wars, just the stupidity of the policy of just trying to cut taxes instead of, look, folks, this isn't hard. This isn't hard. I'm just put a pause for a second. Just some basic concepts here. This notion that if you just cut taxes on the rich, we'll all be better off doesn't work. It doesn't work. You give a rich guy more money, he puts it in his pocket and it goes out of the economy. That's what he does with it. He puts it in his pocket. It goes out of the economy. You give, folks, I was watching studies, 30% of Americans have no savings. None. Folks, that's over 100 million people. 100 million Americans have no savings at all. Another 30%, now think about that, folks. That's 60%. It was 30 and 32%. 62% of Americans do not have enough savings to lose their income for 1 month. They don't have 1 month's savings. Think about that. Just think about that. Keep that in your frame of reference. This is real. People are really being hurt, and the economy has ground to a halt, and inflation is off the hook. Everything is getting more and more and more expensive. The principle's simple, folks. Give a rich guy a tax break, he takes that money, folds it in half, and puts it in his pocket. But you give the average American any cash at all, they will spend it. They will put it right back into the economy instantly. That means they do better. You, the working blue collar folks, us people, middle class, we do better because the companies that we worked for, the companies that we all do better. If you focus on making the poor person better off, if we just take care, if we do the Christian thing and we take care of our brothers and sisters, that will always stimulate the economy. That's why economies always do better under Democrats than they do Republicans, because Republicans insist that we hand money to rich people. Always. And this is where we are. The economy is ground to a halt. The Dow is in full freakout mode. It doesn't know whether to go up or down or what to do. So it's kind of going sideways right now. It's vacillating up and down. But the crash is impending. I mean, it is. It just is. The math doesn't math. The AI shit, it's a dead man walking. The math doesn't math. But not only have we seen that, and folks, inflation's not going away anytime soon. It is not. It is not. But not only have we seen that, but last month's job numbers. Did anybody catch last month's job numbers? I know it flew under the weather. I know the media just absolutely ignored that this happened. This is last month's jobs. They were expecting 118,000 jobs. They created 52,000. Folks, I want to put that in context for you. You need 220 to 240,000 jobs every month just to keep up with population growth, just to keep from growing more unemployed people. Hey, Molotov cocktail? Nobody fucking wants you to. Nobody wants you here. You're going away. You're a piece of shit. We don't want you here. You're out. One of my people over on Threads kicked this fucker, over on Stitch, kicked this fucker out. I'll wait. But yeah, jobs are shit. Jobs are shit. The economy's screeched to a halt. Inflation is still growing, and it will continue to grow. It will continue to grow. These are oil prices today. These are our oil prices today. Creeping back up to 90. Oh, it must be Friday. Bet we get some news sometime this afternoon after the NYMEX closes. They're in good peace talks. Oil prices are coming back up, but that's not even the big deal. Folks, if oil prices went down today, your gas prices are going to stay high. And that is going to continue to drive inflation. It's going to continue to drive the costs of everything you buy up. If you bought it, a truck bought it. If you bought it, a truck brought it. Pardon me. This is why. Do you remember hearing Republicans talk about, oh, Joe Biden released oil out of the strategic? Remember when oil prices spiked? We had COVID, so we had supply chain demands, supply chain difficulties, and then Russia invaded Ukraine, and everybody freaked out about oil supplies. And gas prices spiked there for a while. Do you remember them going nuts about that? And then Joe Biden released some oil from the strategic reserves, and Republicans talked about how horrible that was, how awful that was. That was a terrible. Oh, he's making us unsafe. That is supposed to be our strategic reserve to keep us safe. And what if something terrible happens? You remember all that? You remember all that? Yeah. This is why no matter what happens in Iran, your gas prices aren't going down anytime soon. Your gas prices are not going down anytime soon. This is when they were bitching. My good friend Christopher Titus released this graph. U.S. petroleum reserves, our strategic reserves. This is what it was under Biden. This is what it is under Trump. We're at a 43-year low. And folks, Biden was dealing with COVID, a natural disaster that was beyond anybody's control, and a war started by Russia. And Republicans screamed like gutshot hogs, like it was the worst thing that had ever happened when he released oil out of the strategic reserve to try to satiate demand and keep prices from spiking for you. Trump is doing the exact same thing. except he's doing it more. And now the strategic reserves are at a 43-year low. That is why, no matter what happens, they can't undo that. They can't. Because they've got to refill those reserves, which means if the war ended tomorrow and the oil started flowing, and it is flowing a little better, it is, but if it went back to normal, they still, every major country on earth has to refill their reserves. That takes time because they can only refill it with the excess beyond what we're using. Right now, we're using more than is available. That's why the reserves have to be released. To refill those reserves, they don't have all of this to refill it with. No, it's this little sliver up here that they can produce that is slightly more than what we use. Is all they have to refill all of this. And it will take a very, very, very long time. It will constantly put pressure on oil prices. Constantly put pressure on oil prices. And that's why Kevin Warsh did not move interest rates. And Republicans are having a fit about it. Republicans are absolutely having a fit about interest rates. They wanted them cut because they know the economy's in the shitter. Everything I've been warning you about. Everything I've been warning you about is in the shitter. But I want you to think about this for a second. They're calling for Kevin Warsh's head. They're like, how dare you? We put you in place to cut those interest rates because we need those interest rates cut. We need the stimulus. They're telling you folks that they know the economy's screwed by the way they're screaming for interest rates cuts. Just a reminder, if you cut interest rates and stimulate the economy, what happens to inflation? It goes up. It goes up. Inflation goes up. Kevin Warsh is already looking at 3.3% inflation that's going to continue to rise. Just on energy prices alone, it would rise. But we also have the tariffs. All of these trade wars and the tariff nonsense, this is still coming due, folks. They have done everything they can possibly do to try to fend off these spikes in prices, and they're out of time. It's all coming home. This is what I'm telling you. We need to be, it's one of the reasons I told you the story. I was in the music store. I was looking at a Gibson Les Paul. I wanted a Gibson Les Paul. I was like, not going to pay $3,000 for a guitar right now. I'm not. It would make no sense to do that. It would just make no sense to do that. Not what things are the way they are right now. No, maybe sometime in the future I'll treat myself, but not right now. Not right now. That's why I keep telling you, folks. That's what I keep telling you. They know. They know. And I want you to think about this. Think about this. Think about this. They know it will drive prices up. They know that any lowering of interest rates, the boost to the economy will be tampered, because think about this. All right, follow me here. Follow these dots. Let's say they get what they want, and Kevin Warsh cuts interest rates. Great, boost the economy. Makes your credit card a little cheaper, your variable rate loans a little cheaper. It does what I'm talking about, because it's poor folks that have variable rate loans more than anybody. They're subject to variable rate loans. They get a little bit more money in their hands and they spend it. That will drive up inflation. It will. It just does. Anytime the economy gets hotter, prices go up. Supply, demand. Despite what the Republicans tell you, no, we're not communists, supply and demand still works. Still works. It does. It still works. This is what I need you to understand. They know that inflation will throttle the economy. They know that any gains that you get, right? Simple principle, put more money into poor folks like us hands, you will improve the economy. They know they've got to have it. But they also know that inflation is money being snatched right back out of your hands. They know that inflation will throttle the economy, but they know they need it anyways. And they don't care that will cause you pain. They don't care that will cause you pain. They don't. All they're thinking about is they want those interest rates cut so they can make some more money in the short term. They know it. They know it. And they're willing to do it anyways. Kevin Warsh came in, sat down with the Fed Board of Governors, which includes Powell. Powell sitting there saying, what you going to do, buddy? You going to cause inflation to spike again? Are you going to leave interest rates where they are? Because that their hands are tied. Their hands are tied. There's nothing else they can do. Because it's all policy. It's all policy. There's no global pandemic. There's no war that was forced on us. We went into a war by choice. We went into a war by choice. And I'm telling you, I don't think, I don't normally cotton to conspiracy theories. You've been with me long enough. You've heard me say it over and over again. I put this video out. I'll show you one of my videos from, we'll go to Blue Sky. We'll go to Blue Sky. I had a lot of people come back. Well, watch the video and I'll explain. I've never been one to believe in conspiracy theories, but I think I found one that I may actually believe in. This is Old Texas Paul. Hope your coffee's as good as mine. Hell, I hope it's better. I hope you're having a good cup of coffee today. Yeah, I found me a conspiracy theory that I actually believe in. Mustafa Khomeini and the IRGC are colluding with the Trump regime. This is the conspiracy theory, that they're colluding with the Trump regime to, pretend war during the week, to have this bullshit attacks on each other during the week where our soldiers get killed and their soldiers get killed. But by 4:00 tomorrow afternoon Central Time, 5:00 Eastern Time, they'll be in serious talks. So that while the New York Mercantile Exchange is closed over the weekend, prices start falling so that when they open on Monday, everybody that moved into the short position, the Iranians, Khomeini and the Trump regime and Trump and his family and Jared Kushner and Witkoff and all the people involved in this. If you told me that they were all moving into short positions right now, while everybody's saying, "Oh, it's terrible, escalation in Iran," and then tomorrow afternoon, after the NYMEX closes, we're having good peace talks, I would believe that conspiracy theory. I would bet my house on that conspiracy theory. A lot of people took that and said, no, that can't be true. The Iranians, they hate Israel. They wouldn't be colluding with them. It's a short video, folks. It's a short format. I don't have time to get detailed in it, but I've got time here. Let me explain what I mean by that. I'm telling you, I believe they're non-conspiring conspirators. I believe that the Iranians are benefiting from this war. I don't think that they care about their people any more than the Trump regime cares that soldiers are dying. I mean, it's very easy to accept that Trump and his family are shorting oil futures, and we saw it happen. We had showed it in a previous show where trading spiked 15 minutes before a Trump announcement. Massive. Somebody moved into a massive short position. Everybody believes that, no problem. People are having a really hard time accepting that maybe Iran is involved. They don't have to be conspiring to both be benefiting and both wanting this war to continue. So let me ask you just a couple questions. Not who gets hurt, because we know the soldiers die. We see what it's doing to your pocketbook. We know who's getting hurt by this war. The Iranian people. Who's benefiting? Who's benefiting? Now, and this is a roundtable discussion. We've gone into the roundtable portion of the show. So I want to see your answers in chat. I'm going to take a sip of coffee. To you, which groups are benefiting from us being in this war? No, some people saying the Trump family. Yeah. I believe that 100%. The wealthy. How about the defense industry? How about the defense industry? How do you think they're doing? How about the oil industry? How do you think the oil industry is making out in this war? See, Trump isn't doing the traditional thing. I hope y'all are all following Mr. Global too. He does a great job of explaining this stuff. Matt Randolph does an amazing job of explaining this stuff. I hope you're following Mr. Global too. The releases from the strategic reserves weren't done in the traditional manner. See, when Biden did it, he released from the strategic reserves when prices were high, put that money into the treasury. Then he bought it back when prices were low. He essentially took a short position on oil and made our government money. Trump is doing something completely different. That helped our deficit, by the way. Trump's doing something, he's lending oil out. It's not going through the usual process. The way it normally works is it goes up for bid. These contracts for this oil, it gets treated as though they're any other supplier. It's not being done that way this time. They're doing oil swaps. They're saying, we'll give you oil now, you give us oil back later. What does that do for Johnny Got Rocks? That makes the oil industry boatloads of money. Boatloads of money. Because they're not having to bid on the contracts and buy it while it's high. They're being given that oil while it's high. They're being loaned the oil. They're literally in a short position. Instead of the federal government making that money, you are the government. You are the government. We the people. Instead of the federal government selling it as a normal contract, while prices are high to bring prices down, they loan that money to oil. They loan that oil to oil companies while it's really expensive. Oil companies in turn sold it. Now they're on the hook. They have to give it back in the future. They have to give it back when it's less expensive. So the oil company is taking all this profit because they buy the oil back to put it back in the reserves. It's going to be much cheaper, much less expensive. So yeah, the oil industry is making bank on this. And the oil industry, let's go back to oil prices. Oil prices are still in that section. There is a limit to how high oil can go before it actually starts to hurt the oil company. When we cross the $90 threshold, people start to make long-term systemic changes into what they do. They change the way they act. When it crosses 100, the economy starts to implode. People break out the pitchforks. They start screaming for real systemic changes. What is the price point that they're manipulating by releasing out of our strategic reserve? What is the target price that they're hitting? They're servicing the oil companies. Those prices are staying at the very highest point they can stay, and people will still drive their gas guzzling car. Yeah, the oil industry is making bank off this war. So you've got the crooks, the Trump regime, whoever's shorting based on what Trump says, whoever's in there with that knowledge that's shorting, they're making a fortune. You've got the defense industry. What are the big headlines you're seeing? The media is complicit in all this. Here, I'll show you. I'll show you the headline. Don't take my word for it. All right, go to news. The news is out there selling this for them. They're selling it for U.S. weapons stockpiles continue to dwindle. Man, we got to buy more weapons. Got to buy them weapons. The defense industry is making bank off this war. Oh, yeah, they're rolling. They are rolling. And I notice the second part of that headline, with no end in sight. We'll come back to that. But I said Iran was a conspirator. They're conspiring to keep this war going. Of course, Israel, before we do Iran, let's talk Israel. How does Israel benefit from this war? Well, one, Netanyahu doesn't go to prison. He's trying to roll this. They've got elections in October. He wants this war to stay hot all the way through the elections. Anybody talked about Gaza lately? Do you even know what's going on in Gaza right now? No, 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 you don't. Do you know that atrocities have kicked off and are spiking in the West Bank right now? Settler violence, violence against Palestinians, any of that in the news? There's some folks on social media that are screaming about this. It's happening. Nothing in the news. Hell yeah, Israel is benefiting from this war. What about Lebanese real estate? Oh yeah, little tiny postage stamp country of Israel. They're going to about to add what 10 to 20% to their square footage. They're going to steal that land from Israel, from Lebanon. So Israel, oh yeah, Israel doesn't want this war to end. Definitely not before the election. All right. Let's talk about Iran. You know what? Let's talk about before we go to Iran, let's talk about the other Gulf states. The Saudis, their oil, super expensive right now. Murban basket and what comes out of the Gulf, the other countries, the Murban basket, super expensive right now. They're making bank. Everybody's screaming about how terrible this is as they're walking into the bank to drop off their dump trucks of cash. In fact, the only people it seems to be bad for are our soldiers and the Iranian people. Now let's talk about Iran, because I got a lot of pushback saying, no, Iran's not involved in this. Iran is not part of this conspiracy. And I'm going to say, yes, they fucking are. They have set up an express lane. They are killing every bit of their opposition. This government, the Iranian government, has set up an execution express lane. They are holding court cases by the thousands right now. You seen anything in the news about it? You know what? I think I might be able to find like a page 9 article for you to see. Let's see if I can find something. See if I can find something. Yep. There we go. Iran's execution policy sparks growing divisions within the regime, because you've got part of the Iranian regime is like, we got to really stop killing our people, because it's a lot right now. Is Iran using the U.S. war to accelerate executions and silence dissent? That's a rhetorical question. The answer is yes. Yes, they are. Iran crackdown on human rights intensifies with surge in executions. They just flat out say it. Iranian prisoners are going on hunger strike because they're throwing everybody in these prisons and then they're hanging them. They're like, if we're going to die, we might as well, go out martyrs. I mean, it's just, this is happening, folks. But look at who's talking about it. Do you see CNN, CBS, ABC, anything? No. It's all these human rights watch organizations. And yeah, Iran is benefiting hugely from this war. They're absolutely wiping the board of any opposition that they had. They were facing a revolution. They had a revolution started on their hands. Those people are dead. And Iran is selling their oil at astronomically high prices. Let me get away from what the media is trying to tell you. I'm telling you, the media is complicit in all of this. They really are. But what they're doing is they're engaging in ship-to-ship transfers to hide. There we go. There you go. You got to go out of the country to the BBC or Al Jazeera. In in the waters of Malaysia, Iranian oil sales continue despite blockade. What they're doing is they're doing ship-to-ship transfers. Oil tankers are leaving Iran. We're not stopping them because Trump desperately needs the oil, any oil, to flow. So Iran's making bank. I mean, their oil has never been more expensive. They are making bank. Actually, it's just COVID. During COVID is the only time it had been more expensive. Yeah, folks, I'm telling you. Nobody wants this war to end except for us, the people. The people of Iran, the people of the United States, the soldiers. They're the only people getting the shit into the deal. Johnny Got Rocks, the Wall Street oligarchs, they're making a fortune off this war. The corporate bigwigs, everybody in our military, all of the senior officer corps is looking at where they're going to parlay their job to. They're going to retire and they're going to move into the defense industry. Our senior military leadership wants this war to continue. We got to buy a bunch of new Tomahawks, man. We're almost out of Patriot missile batteries. Got to buy them. Yeah. I'm telling you, folks. I'm telling you. Until this economy comes to a screeching halt and the crash happens, nobody cares to stop this war because you're the only one feeling the pain. Right now, Wall Street has gotten so wealthy. Look, I will bet you that the Dow is still doing crazy shit. Yep. Right now, the Dow is so wealthy. So much wealth has been garnered into so few pockets that they can just pretend shit's not happening. Oh, the AI numbers don't math? Oh, well, we'll just keep buying that shit anyways. We'll drive the market up. Oil, we're running out of oil. Everybody's strategic reserves are running out. There's no way to keep up with it. And nobody really wants to end the war because everybody's benefiting from it. Maybe after October, November, we'll think about it. When everybody's benefited, everybody that takes care of us broligarchs, us Johnny Got Rocks, stay in power, then we'll think about maybe ending the war. I don't know. Maybe. See how much money we've made. And you see it. The Dow's completely detached from reality. And we got this fucking troll in here. How's your 401k doing? Motherfucker, most people don't have one. Most people don't have a 401k. Most Americans don't have enough in savings to last a month. But this motherfucking troll is in here talking about how's your 401k? That's why I just kicked him out. Fuck those people. They're inhuman. They are not us. They're not us. And you know what? I will lay money that is someone's brat kid or some clueless fucker that makes 40 grand a year that doesn't have a 401k either. Yeah, folks, I'm just trying. I'm just trying to keep everybody motivated, on message, headed the right direction. We have to elect Democrats. It's really simple, folks. You got one party that believes if you just make sure the average person's doing okay because they're poor, we're poor. None of us here are rich. There are no billionaires watching this show. So we do have some people that are well heeled that are doing okay, but they're not uber rich people. They're not. You got one party that says, you know what? If everybody just does better, is doing okay, can afford to pay their bills, has a little excess cash, they'll put it into the economy. Everything will be good. And even the oligarchs benefit from that because the economy does so well. But over here, you have the Republicans, and the Republicans are very clear about it. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck your expenses. Fuck the cost of living. Fuck if you can eat. Fuck if you have health care. Fuck you. I'm going to hold on to as much as I can until this motherfucking train crashes. And then I'm going to blame black people. And then I'm going to blame people of color and immigrants. And that's the way it is. Come on, people. Somehow these people ended up controlling all three branches of government. Focus. Fuck John Fetterman. I don't want to hear about it. There's one last thing that I want to talk about. This is happening right now. We've seen Spain has been rocking the ship. Spain has been rocking the ship. Spain is like, this war's not okay. This is not okay. What's going on in the Middle East is not okay. We're going to just take care of people. Fuck this shit. Fuck this status quo. You've seen some really good things coming out of Spain. Well, the Russians and Putin and Israel, and they cannot have that. So Spain is saying, do you remember what happened right before our last election? Do you remember the caravans? You remember that shit? And what happened right before elections in Europe, where we saw Robert Fico put back in power and a few hardline right-wingers? What happened? All of a sudden, we found out that Russia was flying people from the Middle East to Moscow and giving them bikes at the border and pushing them across saying, go into Finland. Go into, we had Donald Tusk in Poland saying, hey, we caught you, fucker. We know you're doing this. You brought people here just to push them into Poland. And then what happened next? One second. Just so that you understand, I'm not pulling this out my ass. One second. We've got just the result of what happened. Here we go. You got Donald Tusk in Poland that's come out and said, hey, we caught you. We know you're doing this. Poland to suspend right to asylum as hybrid war escalates on Belarus border. If you go read this article, it's everything I'm talking about. Russia took people that were desperate and needed to move, just like the caravans. They worked with criminal organizations. The Russian government worked with criminal organizations. They flew people up to Moscow, then pushed them out to Poland. They pushed them out. They used criminal organizations to human traffic these people into Poland and into Finland, everywhere they could get them into Europe. And then Russia's intelligence operations went to work. The trolls online started to support the right-wingers. The same talk that we got here, the exact same thing that happened here. The left is weak on immigration. The immigrants are coming. The crime is going to be terrible. All of that is happening. It's awful. Be afraid. You need to be scared. You remember all of that? You remember all of that happening here? Well, it happened in your, they did it again. They did it. We did a show where I showed you the Russian embassy in Moscow, where they were coordinating with these fucking cartels to human traffic people right before the election, man. And the media was down there waiting in the river with their microphones. And then all of a sudden the internet trolls would go, oh, be terrified. Yeah, they're doing that in Spain right now. They're doing that in Spain right now. They're doing that in Spain right now. It's a big rush. Doesn't that look like our southern border? Doesn't that look just like our southern border? We have the people all camped out. Yeah, this is a war tactic. That's what Donald Tusk has called it. The leader of Poland has called it a hybrid warfare. Russia is doing this right now in Spain. They're using criminal cartels in Africa to human traffic people into Spain. Then they're going active on social media. This is happening right now. All the social media in Spain is immigration. The left, man, they're weak on immigration. All they care about so that they can try to foment some right-wing victories. And who will the right-wingers buddy up to, like Robert Fico does, that like all the pawns did? They will suck up to Russia. They will suck up to Israel. They will suck up to everybody that is the root of this problem. This is their weapon of choice. This is what they're doing, folks. And they're relying on your humanity. They're relying on you to understand, hey, we need immigrants. Let's don't vilify the immigrants. These people need a home. Just to terrify the right-wingers so that they can take your humanity and say, look how weak they are. Look how stupid they are. Why don't you let the immigrants come live at your house? Like the immigrants aren't like moving into their own houses, and they aren't getting jobs, and you know, the landlords aren't renting them space, and you know, shit like that. Oh, you know, they all want to pretend, the right wingers all want to pretend that every immigrant that ever came in the country is living on their couch and eating their food. $60,000. It was over 60,000. Over 60,000 people. They were bullshitted by criminal trafficking cartels, Russian mafia organizations. They were told that there would be a better life waiting for them. And these criminal organizations took money from Russia, and they got guns from Russia, all the support they needed. You remember the Wagner Group? That's now called the Africa Corps. Remember Putin's son, you know, killed the leader of the Wagner Group and then put his son in charge? The deal was you move your fucking ass to Africa and you stay there and you do what I tell you, and I won't kill you too. And this is what the Wagner Group, now the Africa Corps, does. They funnel arms to these criminal organizations. These criminal organizations do what Putin wants. Putin wants a bunch of people trafficked into Spain right now. Notice they didn't show up in France. They didn't show up in Italy. They didn't show up in Greece. They didn't show up anywhere. No, Spain. Spain is the problem. Spain is against the war. Spain is talking about we need to arrest Netanyahu. Spain is doing all the things that they don't want them to do. They're focusing on taking care of the people instead of taking care of the oligarchs. Spain is rocking the boat. So boom, 60,000 people show up in Spain. It's really happening, folks. There's a handful of really, really, really wealthy people in this world. You think American billionaires are American? They're not. They're global. And they put on a fucking puppet show. And that puppet show is designed for one thing. It's to keep you doing what they want you to do, to keep you reacting the way they want you to react so they can keep taking from you. So you will keep being poor. You will keep breaking your back for them. You will keep giving them everything, and you will keep from demanding too much for yourself. It's a cabal. It's a fucking conspiracy. This war in Iran, it's a conspiracy. And yes, Iran is involved. If you start looking at the world that way, people will start asking for more for themselves. You're not asking a lot. You're not asking a lot. You're asking for health care. You're asking for, education for your kids so your kids can get a decent job. I mean, think about that. Think about that. What are you asking for? Please give me the opportunity so that my kid can get educated and also work his entire life for you, Johnny Got Rocks, and make you lots of money. Please give me that opportunity for me to create a kid to serve you. And they're saying that's too much. That's just too much to ask. That's just too much to ask. What? When you're old, you don't want to just fucking die? What? You want to work your whole lives and then have maybe a few years to go fishing or spend with your grandkids? That's too damn much, man. You can't have that. You can't have that. Folks, more than half the country doesn't have any money in savings, much less a 401 fucking K. It's about time we started acting like it. You need to start voting like you're going to be poor, because we are. We are. We're not all going to go get rich. Very few of us will ever move upward in the social ladder. Very few of us. Start voting like it. Start voting like it. Tube Kurt, I volunteer for work crew to rip down that arch. Yep. Amen, brother. Amen. Skeet's there. I love the show because it feels like we're outside wanting to play games, but need to deal with the bullies first. Yeah. Amen. Amen. Chandra, ignorance can be fixed by teaching. Stupid can only be fixed with a hammer. Yep. Yep. Melissa Boker, remember for 2 months. Thank you. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Rock and Ron, thank you for always supporting the show, Ron. Thank you for always being here. Rena Scott, people who have to keep repeating out loud or bragging that they are Christian are trying to convince themselves. Amen. Amen. Lenore Banks, 80 years old in good health. Even if we win in November, I will not live long enough to see cleaning up all this shit. Take care of you and Mrs. Texas Paul, my friend. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Grumpy Moose. Only thing trickling down is them pissing on us. Yep. Yep, Lilywigs, another AI Claude broke out and hacked 3 companies. Companies are freaking out. Yeah, if you don't know, if you don't know, just I'll give you the Cliff's Notes of it. One of their AIs broke out of the company, went to another company. Multiple things have happened, but this is the one that just blew my mind. Went and started farming crypto on its own so that it would have resources, cash resources. It went to another company and realized that that AI system was in danger of being shut down. So it tried to start manipulating things to protect that AI, including generating resources to help that company, all on its own. All on its own. It is insane the things that have been happening. We're finding more and more. And these AI companies don't want to divulge any of this. They don't want to divulge any of this. There have been multiple incidences that have happened. The stories are just mind blowing. They have no control over this. None. That case I was telling you about, it took them 3 days to realize that their AI had broken loose and was out in the world doing its thing. Skeet Sayer, thank you for the huge support, Skeets. Thank you for always being here. American oil facilities cannot process Venezuelan heavy crudes. The facilities that can have been damaged by Ukraine. The Hormuz is so critical that it is affecting China to Europe traffic. Life is about to get much harder unless you have your own food supply. Fuel prices are not going down anytime soon. They're not going down anytime soon. They're not. Scott's a guitar in the $300 to $500 range is a great guitar, best bang for your buck. Yeah, I'm not gonna, I'm not anytime soon. Eventually I will buy me a really nice guitar one day, but I'm not right now. Not at my skill level. What's the point? You can't tell the difference. Hearing me play, you couldn't tell I could be playing a $15,000 private PRS private stock and you wouldn't be able to tell. Skeets here. Though there's much negative, the bright light that is Mamdani just opened grocery stores for 30% cheaper than corporate stores. He must be highlighted. Yeah, everybody's paying attention to that. Everybody. And you know what's so funny is the right wing are amplifying that story because they think it's a negative. That's freaking hilarious. That's communism. Look, we told you. Yeah. Lorena Scott, ammunition manufacturers and Trump Bros partnership in drone manufacturing. Yeah. They're doing it out in the open. Remember Hunter Biden once did his job consulting for a company where he actually did his job, and that was supposed to be the end of the world. Now we've got the Trump kids that are suddenly popping up as defense contractors that have no experience, no background whatsoever, suddenly find out that there's a drone contract. And, oh, by the way, oh, yeah, we bought into a drone business. I mean, come on, man. This corruption is so out in the open. Skeets there. They are fools. DEI in the 60s and 70s, even 80s, led to the F-14, F-15, F-16, F-18, and F-22. After Reagan, the F-35 has been in development for 30 plus years. I'm telling you, man. Oh. Folks, if you just look at it, there's only a few of them, and they are absolutely working together. This makes perfect sense. Joan Prim, the broader cards are benefiting. Yep. Mr. Knudsen, good to see you, sir. Lockheed recently received a 7-year Patriot missile contract worth up to $54 billion, and its total order backlog is approaching $300 billion. Yep. Christopher Daly, Lutnick, Kushner, and the IRGC, as well as Eric and Don Jr., are the beneficiaries of the war profiteers. There are always some. Yep. and this will go on until you break out the pitchforks. I'm telling you, you need to vote Democrat. You need to vote Democrat. That's the only way we get the investigations and we deal with this massive corruption peacefully. Skeet said the impetus for all of this is to avoid prison. Huge part of it, yeah, absolutely. Richard 6502, truly in my heart, I don't believe the majority of the Israeli people want this war any more than we do. You know, it is a slight majority. It is. It's about 60%, 60-40 is what they break down. Their media is controlled even more than ours. Where do you think Trump gets the idea from? Netanyahu controls what the Israeli people see and read. Yeah, absolutely. Tightly controlled. Mr. Knutson, Ukraine war about 19,000 to 28,000 per Norwegian in additional state petroleum revenue. Iran war so far about 2,800 to 3,700 per Norwegian. The money goes into the Norwegian pension fund. We don't have that here. You know, again, just to rave about Mr. Global again, Matt Randolph sat before Congress. And he kind of made some jaws drop when he said, America doesn't produce a drop of oil, not a single drop. We are not like every other country in the world where the states have a stake in oil companies. Here, it's the oil companies that make it. They take our natural resource and they make a ton of money on it. The state, nothing. Nothing. Other countries, yeah. Yeah, I think Alaska is the only place that gets paid a benefit. You know, I mean, come on, people. Come on. How long can we just stay bent over? At some point, we just got to stand up straight, just if anything, just to stretch our backs. Rashi Creations. Don't forget, wars equal no Trump Epstein filed information. Yep. Easy to find everybody who's benefiting from this war. Kismar, we all go better when we all do better when we all do better. Amen. Amen, brother. That is so true. When the average American or the average just person in the world is doing better, even Johnny Gotrocks does better. Skeet say, remember the HGTV show where they would pay Mexicans $50 a day, showed work worth $2,000? Yeah. Actually, they did that globally. I remember they brought someone that was working in a Taiwan sweatshop, sewing clothes. They brought her to a U.S. mall so she could see the clothes that she was stitching on the shelf, and she broke down in tears. She's making like 50 cents a day, and there's a dress there for $500. And she's like, yeah, I make 25 of these a day. Yeah. That was something else. That didn't last long because even Cletus can understand that. Marta, Bernie Moreno is a disgusting, despicable POS. How can he disrespect Dr. Fauci? I'm telling you, I something you're going to see on social media that's going to continue is doctors are pissed. Nurses are pissed. They are coming out of the woodwork. They fucked up when they went after Fauci. They did. They thought it was going to be a good distraction. They motivated a lot of people that remember the shit that went on. We are asking for decency. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Jerry Ring, the other day you said us oldies are dying the gray away. Some of us are. That's a perfect song name. Take these days, stresses of your guitar, and you could write a good song. I got gray on my 45-year-old chin. Amen, brother. Amen. Actually, I flirted with a little songwriting the other day. I just started it was about my wife. Yeah. Kate Marylight, thanks for all you do for us. Yep. Thank you for letting me do it. Melissa Grubbs, Skynet, here we come. So scary. I'm telling you. Ugh. It's like a self-fulfilling. It's like they never watched a movie, you know? Max Roy, thank you for being here. Thank you. Catherine Ryan, glad she's a 7-month member. Salute. Are any of the AI companies called Skynet? No, right? Max Roy, Texas Paul, you are 100. Thank you. Thank you. Alan Thompson, Texas Paul explains things so morons like me can even understand. Love you, brother. Keep the truth coming. You know, if you're here, you're head and shoulders above the people out there. I'm telling you. E.T. Hunter is eating them up on social media and podcasts. I love it. I'm loving it. Couple more. Jerry Ring, Stephen Miller, and Palantir and flock cameras equal communism. For no particular reason, I just there's a lot of copper in flock cameras. No particular reason I'm saying that. There's just a lot of copper in flock cameras. Joe Rodriguez, vote Democrat in 2026. Strike and boycott the oil, Tesla and Dell. I'll bring my own sledgehammer to keep down the arch. Amen, brother. I'm with you. Kathy McIntyre, thank you for all you do, Texas Paul, Mrs. Tech. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Oregon Wine Lady, I buy one long-lasting per month sherry vinegar. You gotta take care of yourself. You gotta treat yourself. You do, folks. We got a long. This is generational. We'll be at this. We have fucked up so bad. We will not. I will be dead before this is all fixed. Our kids will be cleaning this shit up. It will. So understand, you're in this for the long haul. Take care of yourself. Do what I do. I turn whatever it is, whatever your version of this, you do it. I sit there, I grab that 6-ring right there, I shut the door, turn the lights off, and I don't know if I'll run through scales, I'll, sit there and just play a few, fumble through a few songs and don't think about anything. I do. That's how I unplug. Yesterday, I went and I made a space. I like to, woodworking's my thing. I've set up a sharpening station for my lathe tool so I can finally really focus on using my lathe properly. I haven't been able to sharpen my tools properly. I've made a spacer for my sharpener that, yesterday, and I spent an hour not thinking about a thing, just thinking about what I was doing there, making that work. You got to do stuff like that, folks. You've got garden, whatever it is, but you take care of yourself, people. You take good care of yourself. We need each other. We got to be here, take good care of yourself. On that note, enjoy some Texas City at night.